I think skeletons are kinda bad. To the bone. Think about it for a second. Of the 4 main mobs, zombies, skeletons, creepers, and spiders, 3 of them have pretty straightforward counterplay. As zombies, creepers, and spiders can only hurt you in melee range, the straightforward strategy is to just back up and hit them while they come at you. And the nice thing about it is that you don't need to be wearing any armor or have any particular items to deal with them. But tell me, how do you do that with skeletons? Well, strafing, right? Nuh-uh. Works to a point, but once you get close enough, you're gonna get shot no matter what you do. You'd think, given the modular nature of the world, you could put blocks down to stop the arrows flying at you, right? No, they can strafe too, dummy! The optimal strategy is actually to equip a sword and a shield, and slowly but certainly creep forward whilst blocking. It's really boring. I hate it. I hate it so much. Once you're there, you just smack 'em, block, smack 'em, block. It is so lame. You would think that the optimal strategy would actually be to shoot arrows at them back, right? Because you can indeed equip bows and arrows like the skeleton can. This is about the worst way you could possibly fight them. When the player charges a bow, their speed is reduced to that of their sneaking speed, which is about 25% of your normal walking speed. So try and take a wild guess as to what happens when you're fighting a skeleton. You get shot, of course, because you can't move out of the way of the arrows flying at you. Not unless you cancel your bow charge, in which case you have to move out the way, reposition, and then start charging again, at which point the skeleton's already strafing and charging its next shot. If you're not already being harassed by the other mobs, like the zombies and spiders running towards you whilst you're slowly charging your bow shot, then finally you can let go and shoot your shot. Only to completely miss because the skeleton strafed out the way of your very slow arrow. Yay.
This sucks, man.
That's why we made our very own archery update for Minecraft. My name is Neko, and if you're enjoying the video, please consider liking it and maybe even subscribing for more in the future. So, in order to make combat against these skeletal menaces, in addition to every other mob in the game, far more enjoyable, we have added 5 new features. And of course, the last one is my favourite. Firstly, we gave bows tiers. And not like the crying kind, I mean like armor. Tools and armor are the only items in the game that come in progressive tiers, starting from leather and wooden, all the way up to netherite. Certain special items don't follow this convention, like the tridents, which can only be found from drowned or, I think, in trial spawners? Or, speaking of the trial spawners, the mace. Both of these items have their own unique properties that make them more powerful than strictly strength. The mace allows you to withstand all fall damage if you attack an enemy with it whilst falling, in addition to dealing massive damage if you fell from a great height, whilst the trident gives you alternate methods of mobility underwater or in the rain, in addition to special enchantments like channeling. They're both special standout items. The bow isn't like this. It's crafted with 3 sticks and 3 string, and it fires arrows that are crafted with 1 flint, 1 stick, and 1 feather, all fairly easy items to attain. Yet, the bow that you can craft within the first 10 minutes of playing the game is the same bow you're going to be taking to the end of the game as well, very much unlike your wooden sword and pickaxe. This is technically justified in progression since you can enchant your bow to become as powerful as it needs to be. A power 5 enchanted bow dealing 15 hearts of damage as opposed to just 6. Or rather, 15 points of damage, 7.5 hearts. I hate this. This health system is so stupid. I find that weird and inconsistent though. And in my opinion, the more things in the game to spend your hard-earned ores on, the better. So we've divided the bow into 5 bows. Wooden, golden, iron, diamond, and netherite. But it doesn't make sense to have tiered bows because you can't bend metal. I know that's stupid. That's why they're not iron bows, they're iron reinforced bows. Now that bows come in tiers, they follow the convention of every other tool, where the higher the tier, the higher the durability and damage they deal. But wait, there's more. Now there's 3 more variables: movement speed, draw speed, and velocity. So, for example, because the wooden bow is small and light, it lets you move around fairly swiftly on your feet whilst drawing it, at the expense of having quite a low velocity when fired, and thus a low range and damage value. This means you'll have to get a little closer to deal consistent damage to your enemies with arrows, while still retaining a lot more range between you and the enemy than you'd get with a melee attack. Meanwhile, the netherite bow, the strongest bow, not only takes a long time to charge, but it also makes you a bit of a sitting duck whilst using it. In exchange though, you get insane firepower from it. You could definitely consider this the sniper's bow.
Stab, stab, stab.
With these changes to movement speed and draw time, fighting mobs like zombies and skeletons becomes a lot more proactive, and thusly, in my opinion, a lot more fun. Oh yeah, we also added tiered arrows too, so in addition to getting stronger firepower from your bow, you can also shoot some metal-coated arrows to really add some damage to the table. Ouch, that's gonna hurt in the morning. Secondly, we gave a debuff to skeletons after they fire their arrows. It's called Quick Draw. For 30 ticks after a skeleton shot their arrow, they'll be vulnerable to extra damage from other projectiles themselves, typically lethal amounts, which means you can one-shot them if you're fast. This was, in fact, the first idea I ever came up with for this project, and it may be my second favorite. It is intensely satisfying to dodge a skeleton's arrow and then one-shot them with your own. As the name might suggest, the idea was inspired by old westerns, and the vulnerability that would come with missing a shot in a duel. Oh yeah, higher tier bows also give you quick draw after firing too, so be careful. Third, we added bow breaking. If you hit a skeleton's bow with a critical axe strike, you have a good chance of breaking that bow completely, forcing the enemy to rely on melee attacks. This is especially helpful if you play with mods that make skeletons much better at evasion whilst holding a bow. For every level of the unbreaking enchantment a bow has, the damage it would take from a bow breaking strike is reduced by 10%. Additionally, the higher the tier of bow, the less damage it takes from bow breaking strikes, with diamond reinforced bows only taking 50% of their overall durability's damage, as opposed to wooden bows taking 100%. Mind you, the chance a bow will take breaking damage anyways is lower the higher the tier as well. Fourth, we gave bows new enchantments. Scouting makes you move faster whilst you're charging your bow, whilst Baby-Faced makes you faster after hitting a target with an arrow, both enchantments for boots. Grit gives you resistance whilst charging a bow, whilst Follow Through gives you strength after hitting someone with an arrow, both chestplate enchantments. Curse of Fragility makes your armor susceptible to extra damage from arrows, whilst Curse of Pincushioning constantly applies a quick draw effect to you, the former for all armor and the latter for helmets. Lastly, bows get 2 damage enchantments. Shattering gives projectiles a 5% chance to deal an extra 5% of an armor's overall durability times the level of the enchantment, up to 5 levels. This means at its peak, you have a 1 in 20 chance to deal 25% damage to an armor item, in one shot. Headshot, on the other hand, deals 1.5 extra damage per level, up to 5 levels, if your arrow comes into contact with the enemy's head. This enchantment replaces Power as the overall best damage dealing enchantment for bows, as it requires a greater degree of precision than Power ever did. Bows also get 1 utility enchantment, but also there's 2 more features I forgot about. Trajectory, my favourite enchantment, visualizes the trajectory of your arrow. It's so cool, it makes combat so much more straightforward. Don't have to guess anymore where your arrow's gonna fly. My compliments to the chef. 6. We added a crosshair indicator for when you're charging a bow. Since some of our new bows take far longer to charge than others, we thought it would be a good idea to add a visual indicator for when they're ready, much like when you're ready to attack with a melee weapon. Neat. And 7th, since our bows are made with ores, just like tools, you can repair them in an anvil with their appropriate material. Almost all of this mod's features are configurable via data pack. You can change pretty much any attribute of any bow from any mod, provided they're programmed the same way the vanilla bow is. Have a go with the mod and let us know what you think of it in the comments. Is it well balanced? Is it fun? That's what counts to me! Let me know, I'd love to hear it. Want to see other ways I'd update Minecraft's combat, including its enemies? Check out this playlist here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!